It was Leo's idea, of course. He was the one who always found the weird stuff online, the creepypastas, the dark web forums, the rituals you weren't supposed to do. We were seniors, bored on a rainy Friday night, the kind of boredom that feels like a physical weight. When he showed us the webpage titled The Midnight Game, a Test of Fear, with its pixelated Gothic font and dire warnings, we all scoffed. It was so obviously fake. A piece of paper with your name and a drop of your blood? Tapping on a door 11 times at midnight to invite a midnight man into your home? Hide from him in the dark until 3:33 a.m.? It was the kind of thing you'd find on a GeoCities page in 1998. "It'll be a laugh," Leo said, his face lit by the blue glow of his laptop. "We can film it. It'll be hilarious." Maya, ever the pragmatist, rolled her eyes. "It's stupid, and you're not using my blood." But Sam, the quiet one, surprised us all. "I'm in," he said softly. "What's the worst that could happen? We get spooked and waste an evening?" That was the hook, wasn't it? The tantalizing thrill of manufactured fear, the safe scare of a horror movie. I agreed, more to prove I wasn't a coward than anything else. Maya, outnumbered, reluctantly went along. The ritual was absurdly specific. We had to extinguish all lights and electronic devices. We each wrote our full names on a piece of paper, pricked our fingers with a sterilized needle from Maya's first aid kit, and let a single crimson drop fall onto the ink. The atmosphere in Leo's sprawling, empty house, his parents were away for the weekend, shifted from a party vibe to something solemn, almost sacred. The joking stopped. The act of drawing blood, however small, made it feel real in a way I hadn't anticipated. At exactly 11:59 p.m., we stood in the pitch-black foyer, the grandfather clock ticking ominously. Leo held the paper. I held the candle we'd use to ward off the midnight man, our only allowed light source. According to the rules, if the candle went out, you were fair game. Leo knocked on the heavy oak front door, 11 times. The sound was unnaturally loud in the silent house. Tap, tap, tap. On the 11th knock, the house didn't change. No sudden cold wind, no demonic roar. We stood there in the dark, listening. Nothing. "See?" Maya whispered. "Total bullsh." The grandfather clock in the hall began to chime midnight, and on the very first chime, the candle in my hand flickered violently, nearly going out, as if an invisible wind had whipped through the sealed foyer. A wave of cold, so intense it felt like a physical slap, washed over us. The air grew heavy, thick with a smell I can only describe as old dust and dried leaves. We all felt it. The shift. The rules had been accepted. "Okay, game on," Leo said, his bravado now laced with genuine fear. "Hide!" We scattered into the darkness. I ran for the living room, ducking behind a large leather sofa, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. I held the candle close, its tiny flame the only thing separating me from the suffocating blackness. For the first 10 minutes there was only silence, the heavy, waiting silence of a predator just beginning its hunt. Then, the noises started. First, it was a faint, dragging sound from the kitchen, like something heavy being pulled across the tile. Then, a soft, wet, sniffing sound from the hallway right outside the living room. It wasn't human. It was the sound a large animal would make, trying to catch a scent. My scent. I held my breath, pressing myself deeper into the shadows behind the sofa. The sniffing stopped right at the entrance to the living room. I could feel a presence there, a concentration of the cold, standing in the doorway, scanning the room. The candle flame shrank, guttering down to a desperate blue pilot light. I cupped my hand around it, my own breath threatening to extinguish it. The presence moved on. The dragging sound resumed, moving up the stairs. I let out a shuddering breath. That's when I heard Sam scream from the second floor. It was short, sharp, and ended in a sound like a wet towel hitting the floor. Then, silence. Panic seized me. This wasn't fun anymore. This wasn't a game. Something was in the house with us, something that played by its own set of rules. I heard Maya whimper from the dining room, followed by the sound of shattering glass as her candle must have hit the floor and gone out. A moment later she screamed, a long, drawn-out wail of pure terror that was cut off with a sickening finality. It was just me and Leo now. I could hear him breathing heavily, somewhere in the study across the hall. The dragging sound was coming back down the stairs. Thump, drag, thump, drag. It was slower now, confident. It knew it was running out of prey. The thing entered the living room again. This time, it didn't pause at the doorway. I could hear its slow, shuffling gait moving around the furniture, getting closer to my hiding spot. The cold intensified, seeping into my bones. The candle flame flickered, dancing wildly. I knew it was coming for me. I broke. I couldn't take it anymore. I leapt up from behind the sofa, holding the candle out like a shield, and ran for the study where Leo was hiding. I burst through the door. Leo was crouched in a corner, his face a mask of sheer terror. His own candle was almost burnt out. "It got them," he choked out. "It really got them." The dragging sound was right outside the study door now. The doorknob began to turn, slowly, deliberately. "The rules!" I yelled. "It can't get us if we have the light!" The door swung open. The thing standing there was a silhouette of absolute blackness, a man-shaped void that drank the light from our candles. It was tall, impossibly so, its head brushing the top of the doorframe. I couldn't make out any features, just an overwhelming sense of age and hunger. It took a lurching step into the room. Our candle flames didn't just flicker, they bent away from it, as if trying to escape. Leo screamed and threw his candle at it. The wax snuffed out against its dark form. In the sudden loss of his light, the thing seemed to grow larger, the cold deepening into an agonizing freeze. It was on him in an instant. There was no dramatic struggle. One moment Leo was screaming, the next the sound was muffled, then silenced, as the darkness enveloped him completely. He was just gone. I was alone. The thing turned its faceless head towards me. My little candle was the last light in the world. I backed into the corner, knowing it was useless. But then, the grandfather clock in the hall began to chime. 3:33. The thing stopped. It seemed to listen. The oppressive presence receded. The crushing cold began to lift. The dark silhouette wavered, like a mirage, and then simply dissolved into the shadows of the room. I was alone. Shaking, sobbing, I stood in the silence, the guttering candle my only companion. The game was over. The police found me there at dawn. They found no signs of Leo, Maya, or Sam. No blood, no struggle, nothing. The official report lists them as runaways. But I know the truth. We played a game for fun. We invited the Midnight Man in, and he came to collect. The worst part, the rules said the game ends at 3:33 a.m., but it never said the Midnight Man has to leave. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I wake up to a faint, dragging sound in the hallway of my own apartment, and I know. He's not confined to one house. He's attached to the players. He's just waiting for my candle to go out.